Hey everyone, welcome back to the Real Estate Rundown here with Marcy, where we meet with top professionals in our real estate industry, and we got a show prepared for you today. Stay tuned. Welcome back everyone to the Real Estate Rundown here with Marcy, where we meet with top professionals in our industry. And today I'd like to introduce you to our next guest, Peter.
Welcome everyone, Peter Giannikopoulos. I'm a real estate agent with Douglass Elliman here in Miami.
Hi Peter, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, appreciate it.
Good, I'm so glad you're here today. I wanted to share a little bit, with the audience about who you are, what you do, and a little bit more about your story.
I love it. Let's start with the story. I am originally born and raised in Boston from Greek descent. Parents are from Greece, came here as an immigrant, so tough blue collar family. And I've relocated to Miami about 3.5 years ago with my wife. And we have made this our home now.
How are you enjoying it?
I love it here, especially lifestyle. Weather is great. The people tend to be a little nicer here compared to the Northeast. But overall, it's a much different experience. Obviously, Boston is home. It's where my roots are. So finding that here is something that we're still doing, but grounded and rooted in the right way.
Great. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing here. You're in real estate, and share a little light on that.
Sure. Real estate's not new to me. So I've been selling for 8 years. Most of those years have been in Boston with a hybrid here in Miami the last 3.5 years. And what I really specialize here, I would say, is not so much in the type of property, but I do specialize with families that are relocating. So I try to help families that are coming out of state into Miami, which I've done that myself. So I've had that personal experience finding the right neighborhood and price point, and there's could be challenges with that as well. Also, I do help with homeowners that are struggling to sell their homes right now on the market. So I've been receiving a lot of calls lately of homes maybe not moving as fast or not getting what they want. So I'm helping those owners kind of get a creative mindset, use a digital platform, kind of spin their process a bit to have them, successfully sell their home.
Yeah, it's so important. Like, you actually experienced it, living in Northeastern and coming down here and purchase something, having that little niche where clients understand, like, hey, where are the good schools? What's a good neighborhood? How should I get in? And actually explain the whole, because you have a growing family too.
Right. We're expecting our first child. And I think the challenge here compared to, let's say, the Northeast is that Miami's very all about neighborhood friendly, or neighborhoods exactly. So moving into each neighborhood is so unique and different, where in other states, maybe you could have half of the state to move to and say it all looks and feels the same. Where here, Brickell obviously is way different than Edgewater. If you want a, more of a family-friendly neighborhood, let's say like Coral Gables is way different than Kendall. They all offer different things. So I think knowing each neighborhood as a real estate agent and being able to guide someone come out of state is super important.
Very important. And that's actually our niche. People who are relocating from other states, moving to Florida, or international clients moving into Florida. We help them kind of organize and coordinate, especially because we're an escrow and title state. A lot of Northeastern are more of attorney state, and they kind of don't understand the process exactly what title does. So being able to, I'm also from Northeast New Jersey, so being able to explain that process, what it is, and who's holding my deposit and monies, and kind of make them feel at ease that they have a trusted, escrow and title agent is very important here, with a trusted realtor involved. I'm going to talk about a little bit, because you're being very modest about your real estate background. You're a well-known Boston realtor, very successful there, had a change, which is somewhat dramatic when you're very established there. Correct. In your industry. So it's important to say that, because here you still have those grassroots of negotiation, tactics, really knowing how to serve the client here, and having that experience and getting here is really a great attribute to anyone who's moving to Florida.
Correct. Yeah. So thank you for those words. In Boston, of course, being there, all my friends and family, and establishing such a good name. Obviously, in this business, all about referral, name, reputation. I was able to become top 500 agent in the whole state of Massachusetts. And, it was a big accomplishment. I did really well. And basically, uprooting and moving to Miami was a challenge in the sense of not so leaving the business, because I'm still pretty active there. It's more so not being grounded there and moving here was definitely a risk I was willing to take, since I did see the change in my life and with my wife and future family. It's better suited for us here. So yes, correct, that has happened. But what I've noticed is that with a lot of people that are moving out of state here, a lot of them are used to certain type of behaviors from other professionals. And I found like my upbringing in Boston and the way business is conducted there has helped me a lot here, because most people are going to deal with are from New York or the Midwest or the Northeast, right? So they're used to this type of personality that I'll have, where someone from born and raised in Miami might have a different behavior and style, which I've noticed, which is works here, right? It works for a lot of people here, but other people moving out of state may want kind of that familiar behavior that they're used to.
Yeah, for sure. And that helps, especially with what you went through and coming here and being that partner. Now, you've been in real estate for a while. Why don't you share a story with our audience of, some type of challenge or obstacle or some story that happened to you during your real estate
Here
experience?
or in general?
Yeah, in general, yeah.
Oh, wow. Real estate story that has happened that's challenging. Well, I'm sure you hear horror stories in real estate all the time, and we'd never like to say those stories, because then it kind of reflects on you thinking you're the reason you were the bad experience. But I've had situations where I was helping the seller and we had a phenomenal offer and we were at the closing table, and the buyer decided not to show up at the closing table, and my sellers left with him purchasing another home but having no money to buy the other home because the buyer decided to not show up at the closing and not buy the home. Now he has a home that he can't purchase because the buyer who's buying his house decided not to show up and close on his house.
Wow.
So we in 30 days we had to figure out how could he get money to buy the house that he loves and sell his home and not be sued.
Yeah. That's nuts.
So we went through that, but there's a lot of stories that I would have to go through the think bank to come up with
to come
crazy
thinking.
stuff.
Going back to what we were talking about, your established relationships where you were and here now, growing your practice here and what you're doing, your profession here, how important it is to work with a reliable title company, partners in your business of what you do.
I think it's pivotal and really important to have the best, I call them business partners.
Yeah.
And I know partners sounds like maybe someone who's financially invested, but in our business, it's more relationship invested, right?
Right.
We're all invested financially on our personal side, but as partners, you want to make sure that the person you're doing business with also has the same mindset and understanding of how things work in regards to taking care of a client, right? So your relationship is so important to be able to talk at a personal level with your partner, right? Especially title, since they're hand in hand dealing with all the title things that can come up, issues, hardships, just the overwhelming feeling of someone buying a home, right? There's a lot that goes into it that's just more than just signing papers.
Yeah.
A lot that goes into it, and we always get that question asked of like, what do you really do? Or what do they really do? And it's hard to really explain to them the ins and outs of the business because they just won't understand this consumer. So although we make it seem easy on the surface level, on the back end, we're putting out fires left and right. So I think it's really important to have open communication with some title rep that can call you on your personal level at any time of the day and just have like a heart-to-heart conversation.
And keep you informed, keep you informed, clear communication, letting you know timelines as they're happening, in real time with the contract. Being informed and clear communication is the key to having a successful closing in the end and having that client reach out and feel supported through the process.
I always say it's not just about getting the job done, because the job will get done. It's about how you make the person feel through that time of getting the job done. So although you're getting the paperwork signed and closing on time, if the experience was stressful and overwhelming, that consumer is not going to have anything good to say about you, although they did buy the house that they wanted. Yeah. So I always relay that to everybody that either works with me or works for me, is that it's what experience you're giving them from the starting point to the ending point.
Yeah, it's so true. Peter, share with our audience, if you have a buyer or seller looking right now that really can benefit from your services, what are some things that you can offer them here?
Yeah, awesome. I would say the best thing that I can offer is not only the truth, but like pure honesty. And honesty in this business is being able to look at your client in the face and saying no, right? I think no is a very powerful word to say. And the no is, hey, you shouldn't move in that neighborhood, or you shouldn't buy this house for this reason, or challenge them on their decision making, because obviously buying or selling could be very emotional, and it's our job to see things in a very unbiased way, and it's our job to make sure they're making the right move, although it's their money or their decisions. We want to be able to guide them the right way. So I think for me, it's really having that hard conversation that most agents don't want to have. And at the end, they're gonna thank you when they're saying, you know what, you did the right thing by pushing the boundaries on me or making me second guess, you know, especially when it comes to owners wanting to sell. For example, obviously every agent wants to take on a listing and help the seller sell. The number one question I always ask is, why do you want to sell? What's making you sell? And do you really want to sell for this reason? Because then if they talk about it out loud, they'll understand. So I'm that agent that really is going to have a heartfelt conversation with someone so they really understand what they're doing.
Really understand their goals and where they're going when they're selling, and not just, you know, there's different types of clients that are like adamant about what they want to list at. Sometimes it's unrealistic, right? So having that professional real estate agent that say, here's why we can get you there, or here's why it should be here, and collectively working together for the end goal.
Sure. It's a delicate dance, I'd say, right? It's obviously you want the seller to get the highest value and the most money, right? But it's making them understand what the market is doing, where it's going, and you being unbiased on opinions, because it's not your opinion, it's the opinion of the market and the opinion of the buyers who are buying homes. So I think being able to understand the numbers and finances and have that mindset of an agent will really help a seller out or a buyer.
Yes, so good. Thank you so much,
Thank
Peter.
you.
Thank you for being here.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Will you share with the audience how they can reach you?
Absolutely. Best way to reach me is obviously through text or call. I'm still very old school way, so I love picking up the phone. So my phone number, I don't know if we're going to attach it or do you want me to say
they're going to have the line.
Sure.
You can go ahead and say.
And then also my socials, it's easy. Peter Giannikopoulos, which is still very difficult to say my last name, but Peter Giannikopoulos on Instagram, and I believe TikTok's the same way and Facebook's the same way.
Well, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.